You know what just hit me? Have we used a crock pot on here before? Hold on a sec, because I think this might be our first time. There's some pretty underrated kitchen gadgets out there. A crock pot, I wouldn't say is like tip top, but it's for sure competing with like at least top 5. And that scale for me is literally just based on, does this device make my life easier? And as a vegan or vegetarian, uses for, a crock pot could see pretty much diminished without understanding how to adapt recipes to make the tool a benefit. Now, this chili is one of my absolute faves. It will certainly rival any chili out there in terms of taste, budget friendliness, easy to cook, and incredibly healthy. For this recipe, we're gonna talk about substitution options and briefly how to cook it. First, we'll start off on how to cook it. Dump everything into the crock pot, and that's how you cook it. Now for the substitution options. Of course, the beans are extremely interchangeable, so no fear, you could most likely use what you have on hand. That's considering that the beans are cooked prior to going into the recipe if you're not considering canned options. I feel like you could almost always find apples, but for whatever reason, if you can't, you could also use like pears. I love pears. With the fruit, you're going for more of a sweet taste, but you could mix things up. Do a little sweet, a little sour, and that might be fun on the taste buds. And if you don't have either option available, you could use potatoes or sweet potatoes, but it wouldn't pack the same flavor enhancement as the other options. For the lentils, again, you could use some more potatoes, maybe some eggplant, or maybe some squash, or even some tofu. And that will help you hold on to some of that protein factor. But listen, there's multiple beans, or maybe I should say multiple protein sources in the recipe. I think you'll be okay if you need to swap one of them for something else. Now, the chili packs a bit of a punch. Not a really scary one, but one that can be noticeable by either younger family or, those that may be a bit more sensitive to it. Easy to minimize that by considering whether or not to add your chilies. The chili though is a significant flavor add. So if you find you don't want to have that flavor, or maybe I should say you don't want to have the heat, maybe you do one chili and more adobo sauce. Or if you really have to get rid of the chili, then just do a lot of adobo sauce. Let's go over some of those popular numbers people like to see in our recipes. Breaking this down by serving, calories are 262, 51 grams of carbs, 14 grams of protein, and 1 gram of fat. But don't forget, chilies are really great paired up with like a baked potato, some bread, some quinoa, some rice to increase the fat content. And fat is good because it does help absorption of nutrients. I like to add some pieces of avocado right into the chili once it's done. This full recipe can be found linked in the description, or you can even print it at my website, makeitdairyfree.com. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, believe in good. Peace.